Straight up. I'm gonna start recording for all people that want to catch on this. This
Mhm.
is it's June 28th, so this is our Sunday Market Blitz. We are going to go over, as always, 10 plus pairs for the week ahead. Nick's gonna get started with DXY. You guys can
Yep.
expect us to go over entries, market structure, top-down analysis, and everything like that. Projection levels. So if you want to go
Yeah, just
ahead,
let me
share
share.
up. We can get started.
Awesome, guys. So as you know, we always like starting off on DXY. Why this is U.S. dollar currency index. This essentially shows the strength of the U.S. dollar, and we look at this specific index because U.S. dollar makes up for 80% of all trade in the forex market. It's also considered the reserve currency of the world, so it's always good to kind of pop onto this chart and kind of see, what's going on. Has anything changed? Is our sentiment still consistent? And it gives us a really good idea as to how the other pairs are going to move once we've analyzed this. So what I want to do first is identify sentiment. We're going to jump up to the daily time frame here and see if anything's changed. It's not going to change that much on the daily, but we're doing a top-down analysis, so don't skip any steps. We're just going to jump into it, jump into like a 1 hour time frame. We're going to go to the daily, slowly go through this and work our way down time frames. So we can see here on the daily that it's in the ascending channel, very much bullish. Has anything changed here? Not really. These are higher lows. We're still above this monthly support, so we're still very much bullish in the broad, from the broader view. Okay, so we can now drop down time frames to the 4 hour, kind of see what's going on more, near current price action right now. So let's just zoom out a second here. This is Corona news. I just want to highlight this. This huge spike to the left is Corona, and then immediately following is just a ranging market. There's no real direction. It's just kind of bouncing between this 101 handle and this 98.5 handle. And it did that until the market kind of priced in everything. Everything kind of caught up, market priced itself in, gave us the true value of the dollar given everything that's happened, and we saw it slide off. So it actually fell out of this range, down to the downside, down towards our monthly, which is where our daily higher low lines up over here. But when we just looked at on the daily time frame, is right at this monthly. So price action slid off all the way down to this area around 96 flat. And then, it kind of started consolidating again. We're moving sideways a little bit here. This is more or less a range right around 97.7 and 96.5. So it's kind of bouncing between this area, right? So, we're going to consider the overall sentiment on the daily time frame. It's bullish. The sentiment here is bullish. We're going to favor a bullish outlook first. Just based on what we've seen on the higher time frame, certain confirmations that we're seeing here on the 4 hour, that's where our our bias is at. We're definitely more long than anything else. And in order to really confirm this long, we want to see a break of this resistance level right here, right at 97.7. Okay, we want to see a break of that, pull back, test as support, and then confirmed higher low. That would give us a lot of confidence that this is going to continue into a strong 4 hour bullish trend and resume the overall, bullish sentiment. But always, this is trade path 1. I have this highlighted here. But as always, we like looking at all scenarios. You have to be open-minded when looking at the market. So trade path 2 here is, the scenario where this continues to range. So we'll see a reversal here, lower time frame transitions, like 1 hour, 30-minute stuff, and then it'll fall back down to the 96.5 area. So that's trade path 2. I am, the blue. Throughout this analysis, I've kind of done something different this Sunday Market Blitz where I've labeled path 1, path 2. Path 1 is always the first, preferred, trade path. Okay, so this is what we're looking at right now. Definitely favoring the long side of this. Waiting for that break, waiting for the pullback, confirmed higher low, and then it's going to continue. So that's what we're looking at. Definitely more long, but very bullish on DXY still. Okay, so with that analyzed, we can then move on to some currency pairs. First one up is AUD USD. First thing we do, jump to the daily time frame, see if anything's changed, from last week. Very bearish, as we can see, the overall sentiment. Strong bearish channel here. This was the Corona spike and then the 4 hour pullback. So, we have to ask ourselves 2 questions here. Are we still bearish? Is anything here, saying there's more bulls than bears? Has this trend changed? It's still very much bearish because this is a lower high. This was a lower high over here. Price action came back and just met that prior lower high, which is also right at this monthly level around 0.70800. So yeah, we're still very much bearish on the daily. So we've established that. Let's drop down to the 4 hour. and identify the trend here. Very bullish, as we could see. Immediately following Corona spike to the downside, we saw a large 4-hour bullish trend present itself. And again, pushed itself all the way up to this monthly, where we're seeing a little bit of, reaction. We're seeing a bit of a reversal from this area. We saw a nice double top, a lot of exhaustion, a lot of bear stepped into the market right in this area. And, we're getting some lower highs. So we see a double top here. We see our first lower high here, a double top again at that same level. And now we're kind of, losing some steam here. The bulls are kind of falling off. We're getting some, consolidation, and it's looking like this is going to continue down. So this is very much in line with the daily bearish sentiment. We're looking for a transition at this key level and a large spike to the downside. So for the short term, this is where we're looking. The 0.675 handle is our next key support. We're looking to get down to there, especially as this channel starts to break. We're getting some lower highs here. This is good. We had a nice MA cross. It's holding well. And then we have a minor level here right at 0.69. So essentially what we want to see is either bearish setups just present themselves now and momentum just pushes down, or, a nice conservative entry. We get a double top right up in this area, right at 0.69, touches this level, gives us some nice bearish setups pulling back through the MAs. That would be ideal. And then we could target down again towards this 0.675 handle. So this trade setup, I just have it marked here, is 3.5 risk reward. We're looking to get 175 pips, risking 50. Really, really great trade. We're literally just at the point where we're waiting for confirmations for this one, okay? So that's trade path 1, right? This is the likely scenario. But again, trade path 2, what would we need to see to consider long opportunities? We want to see a break of 0.69, confirmed higher low, testing this as support, and then, strong bullish setups, engulfings, morning stars, tons of, sellers exhaustion, something that's going to give us conviction that the bulls are going to step into the market and push price action back up towards this monthly around 0.70800. Okay. But again, trade path 1 is always the, preferred, the most in line with the sentiment, the overall sentiment of the market. So trade path 1, blue line, looking to short. Okay. That's AU. Let's move on to AJ. This one is actually an active trade, but I'll cover that in a second. First thing we want to do, daily time frame. We're looking for sentiment, seeing if anything's changed. Super, super bearish, very strong bearish channel. This was a lower high here, right at the monthly. And that's where price action met before reversing from that monthly. So simply retesting this prior lower high, and now we can drop down time frames, okay? So very strong 4-hour bullish trend, all the way up until we hit this monthly. Then we saw a very strong head and shoulders pattern present itself. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. Very, very strong pattern. Pretty much a perfect head and shoulders. We actually caught the right shoulder and then played it all the way down towards this upper trend line of the daily descending channel. We caught like 220 pips on that. Very good trade. And then we started going sideways. So we have a bit of ranging happening between 74,650 and 72,600. Definitely want to see one of these areas break, but I did highlight this. This is an active trade actually, but I did highlight this potential short for you guys here as well. Okay, so what we're seeing is this is a lower time frame transition. This was like a 1-hour transition here. It broke the support level, testing as resistance here, testing as resistance again. It hasn't gotten through that. We actually shorted on this engulfing, this bearish engulfing on the close as it was showing some bearish conviction. Hinting that it's going to play down towards the bottom of the range. So that's simply what we're looking for now. We're below the 73.8 handle. As long as we remain below that on this time frame, we're looking at shorts. Okay, so again, we are active in this. It could pull back up a little bit. It did gap on the open here, but we're just looking to play it to the downside. So any rejection, any bearish setups off these MAs from this current level would be enough to then, if you're not in it already, would be enough to short and get in on this trade. And we're targeting down towards, again, 72.6. So this trade is looking like a 2-0 risk reward, risking 50 pips to get 100 roughly. And it's looking good right now. I mean, there's a lot of exhaustion. So we're just going to kind of play it safe from here. But if we do see, so this is the trade path 1, right? So we're looking for any bearish setups at this current area that would, give us more confidence that this is going to drop down towards the bottom of this range. But again, this trade path 2, scenario 2, we're always looking at both sides of the market. So let's say price action pops up, it breaks 73.8, and then gives us a confirmed higher low. We're then presented with the question, you know, should we exit or not? And, you know, if it breaks structure here and then confirms it with, you know, some strong bearish setups, we can then, you know, close the position and, you know, kind of minimize our loss in that scenario. So right now we're just waiting. We're in a good spot. I'm really not that worried. You know, we're below structure. The sentiment is clearly bearish. So, you know, I have a lot of confidence in this trade still that we're going to get down to 72.6. Okay, so trade path 1, looking bearish. Any bearish setups from here, we're looking short. Trade path 2, we need a break of this resistance around 73.8, confirmed higher low, and then you could potentially even look for a long setup. But until that happens, we are short. Okay, so that's AJ. Let's keep going on to EU. EU is looking pretty interesting. Let's go to the daily. Zoom out. Right, sentiment's clearly bearish, strong bearish channel. This was a huge, this is Corona spike. This is, you know, this huge spike to the upside here up to our monthly at 1.15. That's all Corona. And then, you know, consolidation immediately to follow, which has been consistent with all USD pairs. So let's drop to a 4-hour. Strong bullish setup. We are still bearish on the daily time frame. You know, until we get really above, you know, this lower high over here, right around 1.14 and even 1.15, I'm still, you know, pretty much bearish. There's so much bearish volume in this pair. This spike to the upside here doesn't really, you know, shake my sentiment, at least. So, you know, I'm definitely still bearish on this more than anything else. So if we look at this 4-hour, you know, time frame, we've seen this strong 4-hour bullish trend here, but then, you know, we're getting like some reversal patterns here. So this is the head and shoulders right here, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. This was the neckline, and it pushed lower, and then it's kind of just ranging between, you know, 1.135 and 1.11745. So it's just kind of bouncing in this area. It's not really showing any conviction where it's going. You know, there's no real, you know, break of anything in this area. So that's what we're currently waiting for. We want to see some conviction. Is this going to continue higher? Is this going to break lower? You know, based on the overall sentiment, I'm definitely more short on this than anything else. But to confirm that, I'm not taking any setups in this area. This is like a little box pattern right now. So I want to get in on the, you know, highest probability trade. And for me, that would be a break of this support right around 1.11745. Can retest as resistance, confirmed lower high with strong bearish setups. If that happens, I'm going to take that trade. It'll be I'll have a lot of confidence in that trade. I'll have a good risk reward, you know, and we're following structure. We're doing what we do best. You know, we're looking for these great trades. We're not jumping into the market. We're not getting, you know, too ahead of ourselves. We're waiting for the market to show us, you know, basically what it's doing in the form of these confirmations. So this is trade path 1. Okay, I'm looking to get down to this weekly around 1.1045. You know, let me just highlight here what this trade would look like. Something like this. Let's say we get that retest as resistance. We get an engulfing that we're looking for. And we're looking to get about 125 pips. You know, we'll be risking, you know, 50 pips or less. Let's leave it at 50 for now. So it's a 2.5 risk to reward. Again, risking 50 pips to get 125. So this could be a really great trade. Again, we just want to see those confirmations. Break lower, retest, lower high, boom, we're in. Okay, that's trade scenario 1. Trade scenario 2, obviously we always like looking at both sides, as we've been saying. If this breaks this handle right here, let me put a price label right here. It's basic, whoops. It's this one, 1.124. If it breaks this handle and then gets outside of this pattern, like this, if it gets outside of this descending channel here, you know, we're looking long. I want to see a higher low, confirmed bullish setups, you know, nice engulfing pattern, nice morning star, tons of exhaustion. That could be a potential long opportunity. Just look for it to get outside of this pattern, above this 1.124 handle. Then you could have a really nice trade on your hands. But again, you know, we're always playing into the overall sentiment. And in this case, it's very much bearish, okay? So let me just highlight this for you guys. Give you this little trade opportunity, what it should look like. And then, you know, again, in this scenario, if you're going long, you're just targeting key resistance levels. The first one being 1.135. Okay, so this is a little bit of a shorter trade. Let me get rid of that for a second. You'll be risking around like 30, 40 pips to get 100, 110. So it's well over a 2.0 risk reward. In this scenario, it's about a 2.6. Looking pretty good. Again, just confirmations. You want market structure to form. You want these higher lows or lower highs to form so that you can, you know, have another level of, you know, safety for your stop loss. Something, you know, you're following market structure here. We're not predicting where it's going. We're literally following the market and what it's telling us. Okay. But yeah, this is looking pretty good so far. That's EU. Next we have is EJ. Same thing. We always start by going to the daily. Zoom out. Very, very bearish. Huge bearish channel. This one actually has like the most volume out of any of the pairs I'm looking at. I always do this. I want to show you how big these swings are. It's like a 1,300 pip, 1,400 pip swing there. Absolutely insane. From this lower high to this lower low, 1,000 pip swing. So lots and lots of volume on this pair, EJ. So just to keep in mind, all JPY pairs typically have a lot more volume than any other pair. Okay, so still very much bearish. The overall sentiment here on the daily time frame is bearish until we get above 123.4. Okay, until that happens, my sentiment is clearly bearish, right? So now we can drop down to the 4 hour. We've established that. We do have, again, a very strong bullish trend here, much like we saw in EU. And then again, price action came to the 123.4 handle and then reversed pretty sharply. Came right back to the MAs, gave us this kind of exaggerated head and shoulders, left shoulder, head here, right shoulder, neckline. It actually broke the neckline and then retested a couple times, which was good, just confirming that this was a strong reversal pattern, right? Now we have a strong bearish channel here on this 4 hour time frame, but there's no real clear entry. We need to see a break of something. We need to see a higher low form or a lower high before we can enter safely with a high probability setup. So because it's bearish, we're going to favor a bearish setup 100 100 or 10 out of 10 times. We're following the trend. So my safest bet would be shorting. So I want to see a short setup happen first. In this scenario, it would need to break 119.5, come back, retest as resistance, and then give me that confirm lower high with strong bearish setups. And then, like, let's say I get that retest, we get that engulfing or that evening star. This is what I want to. This is the kind of trade I want to take right here. Okay, we're looking to get down to the monthly 260 pips, let's call it, and then your stop loss could even be 100 pips, which is well up into this area, protecting yourself outside this trend line, this channel, outside this resistance. Then MAs, 200 EMA, lots and lots of safeties before we hit our stop loss, which is great, which is what you want to see essentially. So the risk reward here is 2.55. Again, 260 pips, risking about 100. Really great trade. So that would just be continuing with the trend. We're just looking to get in on that lower high, which we can't stress enough. We always talk about that. We're always entering on a lower high in a short opportunity, and then vice versa for a long opportunity, entering on that higher low. Okay, so that's trade path one. Definitely the favored idea for this pair, but let's cover the long potential here. So we want to see a break of 120.5, clean break, retest, confirmed higher low with strong bullish setup. So this one needs to be really, really, really clear, and it needs to give us a lot of a conviction candle, a very strong conviction candle. So what I mean by that is, let's say it breaks, it closes significantly above 125, maybe even hits the weekly and then pulls back. So like something like this. Let's say it does this. And then the conviction candle would be over here after we get the retest, the confirmed higher low. So after we see some rejection happening at the 125 area as it's testing a support, you want to see a conviction candle in the form of a strong engulfing, a strong bullish engulfing, saying something, a candle that says, all right, here we go, this is the start of this new leg. And then you get in on that engulfing, and that's going to be our entry, right? So we're looking to get in right here. Stop loss would be, again, probably about pretty similar to this trade, 100 pips. And then we're targeting higher towards key resistance. So this is almost exactly the same trade as this one. We're looking to get 260 pips, risking 100, 2.6 risk reward. So either way, this is going to be a pretty big ass trade, but we'll be ready for it. We're just waiting for this to play out to the upside, break of resistance, test of support, or break of support, test of resistance, entering on that lower high in the short scenario, entering on the higher low in the long scenario. Okay, really, really great opportunity here actually on EJ. Excuse me. So let's move ahead to our next and final pair, which is, of course, gold. It's a fan favorite. All right, let's jump up to the daily. What's going on the daily time frame here? Super, super bullish, guys. We cover this pretty much every week. I mean, we do cover it every week. Super, super bullish. Key level here is the monthly. It tested as resistance, finally broke, and then it turned into extremely strong support. So let's drop to the 4 hour for a second. And again, pretty much every time frame is bullish on gold. So here is the 4 hour time frame. Just look at this monthly level, guys. It held so strongly, right? Every time it hit it, it bounced, it pushed gave us another leg higher. And that's exactly what we saw on this last leg. So, we saw this final bounce from our monthly, held perfectly right at 1675, pushed up, gave us this symmetrical triangle pattern, finally broke, and it also, on the break, it lined up perfectly with this structure level around 1730. And then look at that, absolutely beautiful entry right here on this MA cross, this bullish variation, 3 candles in a row, break of the pattern, break of structure. I mean, it doesn't get any more, perfect than that. Absolutely amazing trade. And then it pushed up through this resistance level here, which is at 1745, basically. The resistance level was established here by these wicks, finally broke through, turned into support again. Then now it's wicking, as support. So support's holding this, wicked again, almost came back, hit the 786 on this fib level. And this is our, higher low here. And then confirming that was this large bullish engulfing. And now we're looking to, continue up to the 1800 handle, which we've been calling for quite a few weeks now. So again, this was the best entry over here right at 1730. I know some people are asking, how do we get in on this now? Where's a potential long opportunity? And that would only, the only opportunity that would exist on a pullback, right? So you want to see some sort of fib level hit. You could get in on a, double bottom here at the 786, even a 61.8, or any sort of, higher low, that's confirming structure, guys. You're not going to just get in on this, because of FOMO. You're obviously missing out on pips on this one. You don't want to enter on that because that only results in a loss, most of the time. It's not good trading practice. We want to get in on a higher low. So, if you miss this trade, you got to wait, see if it plays out, see if it gives you another opportunity to enter. But if not, just use it for educational purposes. Absolutely great trade. We've been stalking this for months, for weeks now. So we're looking to get up to the 1800 handle. We're not too far away. It's like 300 pips, 280 pips away. And it's currently up, 400 pips from this entry. So guys, that's gold. Quick recap. I covered DXY, AU, AJ, EU, EJ, and gold. And now Angela's going to get into some more majors.
So I'm going to go over all the major pairs. So let's get right into it. So go ahead and share my screen. Boom. I'm trying to start. DXY again, guys, is testing a significant level right now. But I just keep in mind on the weekly time frame, we're at this low right here. We're finding a lot of exhaustion off this level. Whether we just continue to ascend from here is yet to be seen. As I go down to the daily is obviously, fairly bearish in the sense that we broke this support level. But then as I get to the 4 hour, I can see structure is definitely shifting to be bullish, right? We got this break of this lower high here, higher high, made this higher low. And it's really in a key spot right now. It's in a key level. I think that there's enough support here, but we'll pretty much see what goes down with DXY. But with that in mind, let's just head over. We're going to start first with GU. So let's just start on the weekly time frame. Just do top-down analysis as always. On the weekly, we've got this break of support here in the sense that moving averages crossed, made this lower high, broke, made this low, crossed back over, came back to this level, retested, didn't break. See how we just tested that? Bearish engulfing, and we had another cross. And now we are pretty much either looking to maintain this bearish momentum, even though we double bottoms here, or continue to pull back, test these levels up here, make another lower high or make another high. But basically what I'm trying to get at is as long as we are below these levels, guys, on the weekly time frame, we are still bearish. That's our bias in this time frame. Now, as I get down to the daily, and 4 hour, I kind of just want to see a time frame where structure looks clear for me. So on the daily, right now there's a lot going on. Originally we were in a downtrend. We pulled back. We double topped in this area. This was that lower high. And then we pulled back, actually broke that level. And then we got a lot of bearish pressure here. So when we talk about fake outs and what to do with fake outs and everything like that, I mean, we talked about, bump up time frames. As this broke, I bumped up just to kind of center myself and say, okay, we're still bearish. We're at this monthly level of resistance. Kind of let's see what happens. This is what happened. Started to fall off, and then I just came down to the 4 hour. 4 hour is obviously very bearish. So this is kind of just our trend. Made this low, made this lower high, made this low. Now we made another lower high. That was that trade last week that we took on GU. Um, I know it feels like forever ago. We got to look for the next trade now. You know what I'm saying? We got all the moving averages pointing down. I'm not going to enter at a low. What I wrote, in the analysis that was posted right here was that we need to wait for some sort of pullback. We could just continue lower to this blue line, to this blue level. This is the level of daily support down here. We could just continue lower and then pull back. But regardless, I'm just sitting on the higher time frame right now. No trades exactly on GU, at least yet. As I get down to the 30-minute, I'm looking, okay, we're pulling back a little bit, fairly similar to this. If we get something like this, where we pull back, moving averages cross, then we can consider to take some sort of short opportunity, put our stops up here, and continue this lower time frame trend. So we gotta just wait and see how this kind of shakes out. Let's go over to UCAD up to daily time frame, or let's start all the way up on the monthly. So monthly, and we also got to be aware the monthly is closing on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? These monthly candles are all closing on Tuesday. So right now is really the time where you guys should be up on the monthly and just checking it out, like one look, like, okay, what does the monthly look like? Well, this is closing a lot of exhaustion above the moving averages at a level of support. You know what I'm saying? So without, just using common sense, that is a lot of confirmation that this thing could continue higher. On the weekly time frame, what's going on? We're starting to get a lot of bullish pressure off of this previous level. We're overall in an uptrend in the sense that we made this high, we pulled back, we're trying to make a higher low. And then I'll just do what I did before, try to go down time frames until I see things pretty clearly. And on this 4 hour, I see things fairly clearly in the sense that we made this low, pulled back, made this lower high. And what's going on right now is we actually made this lower high, we crossed, we pulled back through, crossed again. So this was the level that I was looking to break right here. We just broke that to the upside, so I'm now looking bullish, and I'm looking to enter, though, on some sort of pullback. I need a higher low to really confirm this. If I were to enter right now, it'd be very aggressive considering where the 4 hour is at, and I'm just not trying to put myself in that position at the moment because I don't need to at the end of the day. Plus on the 4 hour, we're getting some resistance. I just want to get in at that higher low, like Nick kind of talks about, getting on a good entry transition on that higher low, and then it'll take off for us. So waiting for the pullback, got a lot of confirmation at this monthly level. So see how it comes back there. USEF, I'm anticipating a huge move. We'll start on the monthly and work from here. Monthly time frame is testing this weekly level of support. This huge wick, previously tells me that a lot of buyers have stepped in, even though we're falling off now a little bit. On the weekly time frame, overall we've obviously been very bearish in the sense that making lower lows, lower high, lower low. So I need to go down to a time frame now where I can see structure a little bit more clearly. On this daily time frame, we're obviously in a downtrend, made some lower highs here. Look at the moving averages all crossing. Inevitably, this was the last lower high that was made on the daily. So really, until this is broken, this daily is bearish. But on the 4 hour, this is what I see. I got a clear trend on this time frame, which is very easy for me to decipher. Had this low, lower high, had this low, lower high, made this low, made this lower high right here. That's what I have lined off, and I'm just gonna, or boxed off. I'm gonna change that to red. So to kind of go along with this USD being bullish, and for this is what I would need to happen. I would need a break of this level, this lower high, for me to really get long on this. Also, we would pop above this weekly. At the moment, this is just looking short. This is just looking short. If I go to the 30-minute, and if I was really committed to shorting right now, we could enter right now, realistically, if I was committed to shorting. But I'm kind of just waiting on this to see how it shakes out because um, of how this weekly looks. A lot of exhaustion here, doji here. Last week closed, a lot of exhaustion. So it looks like we could potentially pull up higher. So we're gonna wait on USEF again. All the ones in red is I'm just waiting on the higher time frames. So 4-hour and daily. Not looking for entries. Let's go to UJ. Let's go to the weekly. UJ, or actually let's start on the monthly. Monthly time frame looks kind of crazy, but last month, huge bullish engulfing. Or not huge, but a bullish engulfing. This month, we're about to close with a huge doji. So this is all just showing signs of reversal, and we're at this monthly or weekly support level. So that's what I keep in mind as I go down time frames. Weekly time frame, we are obviously bearish, but we're finding support at this level at the moment. And then I got to get to a time frame where I see things more clearly. Daily made this lower high here in the sense that came down, made this high, pulled back, moving averages finally crossed, retested that level. So until this level is broken on the daily, we are bearish. That doesn't mean this could push back into that level though. On the 4-hour, we actually just broke bullish. So we broke structure here, pulled back, but I still need a higher low. This isn't really a higher low for me. I need this to break again a little bit more clearly, and then pull back and long. So that's what I'm looking at for UJ. NU is a trade that we are currently in right now. Let's hit the weekly time frame. On the all the way on the monthly. Monthly time frame could close with exhaustion at this monthly level of resistance. So I'm keeping that in mind. Weekly time frame, we are in a downtrend. Made this low, made this lower high, made this low. Now we're retesting this trend line. We're at this high. We're at a monthly level. Last two candles, doji here last week closed with a bullish candle. So I'm just bumping down time frames again, trying to see things as clearly as I possibly can. Down to this daily time frame, we have bearish engulfing here. Most recently this evening star formed. That is kind of what I'm basing this whole entire trade on. So as I bump down to the 1-hour, and this is just a good tip for you guys, when you're on higher time frames, just highlight the candle setup, then bump down to a lower time frame, and then that's when you determine is structure broken. For me, structure broke right here. So as this broke, I was waiting to enter on that first lower high. And I'm just gonna hit the 30-minute really quickly. So yeah, so we actually entered this on the 30-minute. It proved to be pretty early. It proved to be very early actually. Now looking back on this, the 1-hour would have definitely been a better time frame to enter on. Could have got a tighter stop loss, but we're still maintaining this trade. Again, I just want to go over structure. For me, it's when we make a high, moving averages cross, we find some support, momentum shifts back to being bullish. That is a support level. That's structure. Then we break, head lower, moving averages cross. We maintain it all the way up into this level. Then we find resistance, break back through, this crosses. That is why at the moment we are comfortably in this trade, is because until this level right here, until this is broken, guys, this level of resistance and this structure level, we are still bearish. So we're just gonna wait this out. Potential re-entries could occur. We'll update that for you guys in the chat. And then let's take a look at GJ. Let's bump up to the weekly or to the monthly time frame. This month, huge doji. Is this like a graveyard doji? Is that what it is? Where it's like no bottom here or no wick here, and then this whole entire wick up here. Regardless, this is a reversal candle. Oh, I gotta unmute Nick actually.
Yeah, so I was typing. I didn't want to.
Yeah, no. So this is like a graveyard doji right here. So look at the last couple candles, guys. Huge wick, doji here, huge wick to the downside. Now we're getting another reversal candle. This thing could pop up. But at the same time, that's just the highest time frame. On the weekly, we are still bearish. We made this low, made this lower high. made this low down here, or retested this low. Until this breaks on the weekly, we are still bearish. On the daily time frame, a lot is going on. So daily time frame, we were bearish, and then this broke. As soon as this broke, if I were to go back, what did I do? I bumped up time frames, and I was like, oh, okay, the weekly is still bearish. The weekly is still bearish. Where's the next possible zone where it could fall from? And I highlighted this zone. You can go back on the live sessions. This is what I highlighted. Support here, some resistance here. Just this was an area where price came to, halted, and then accelerated from. And then obviously if we play it back forward, what happened? Price came into that area, grabbed a ton of orders, fell out. And then as that's happening, because the volume on the weekly is so much, like so many orders are coming in, I'm on the lower time frames. And I'm like, okay, if I'm playing it safe, I'm looking at this time frame and I'm saying, okay, until this breaks, I'm still bullish until this breaks. If I'm being very aggressive, I'm all the way on the 1 hour and I'm like, where are my higher lows? I look left, this is a high, this is a higher low, this is a high. Then we made this higher low right here. Then what happened? We dumped, we broke. Where are my entries? Entry on the first higher or lower high. So entry could have been right here. We put stops either like above the 200, or this is actually, what is this, GJ? So look at that. Look at that. If we were to take this trade on our first entry, like in this area, look how wide stops would have been. So we would not have, that would not have been an entry. As opposed to, we wait a little bit longer. Stops are probably going to actually be similar. I mean, GJ, the volatility on this is insane.
It is.
Stops definitely would have been a little bit tighter, 130 pips. Definitely better than 260 pips. But look at the reward. You know what I'm saying? Look at the reward all the way down. Does hit 2-to-1, all the way down to here. But that's just because we're swinging this into the 4 hour move. This is capturing that full 4 hour push. You know what I'm saying? But like I was saying before, as I hit the 1 hour now, how can I continue to take entries on this moving forward? This was a lower low. This was a lower high. This was a low. This came back, retested this lower high. Doesn't break. Just retest it. Then we made this low. Moving averages maintained this entire way down. Actually, right here, there was like a little bit of a pullback. So this is actually good. It pulled back right here to form this lower high. Boom. Now, as this came back up and broke, what would I have done? I would have bumped up to the 4 hour, and I would have said, what is structure looking like on the 4 hour? It's more significant. 4 hour, we just broke that major level we were waiting for. Now we're waiting for that first lower high on the 4 hour. And that's when we can completely shift how we're thinking and saying, okay, where is our next 4 hour setups? We have here, we have here, and then we have here. So we have not quite, this is a shitty setup, but I would be looking on the lower time frame and I would look at these levels and say, okay, now where is structure? We have this high forms, moving averages are maintained this entire time. We get the cross, pull back, boom, right here becomes our first higher low. Then we come back up. We have another pullback, moving averages cross right here. This is when I will put my stop loss at that level. Then it starts to break. And this is what we shorted on last week, guys, right here. We actually shorted on this variation, very textbook entry, according to our rules. If we go back into signals, when you look at GJ, that's exactly where we shorted, right there. Right here, stops were above this level, obviously came into a considerable amount of profit. Now, where is the next level that we need to come back to? We just need a retracement. We need a retracement, very similar even to this. If it can come up, retest this level, get another cross through the moving averages, then we can put our stops in much of the same area right above here, get a nice tight stop loss, and then we can continue to ride this trend into the higher time frame. We'll then target this lower level down here, negative 27. And then also I just want to show you, this is a demand zone on the daily time frame that I'm looking to be retested. So That is a bunch of pairs. You know, I went over GJ, GU, UCAD, USEF, UJ, NU. Nick went over DXY. Um,
AU,
like Nick
AJ.
said, you know, if you guys were on the webinar before this, a lot of questions were answered in there about signals. We are about to get it going for this week. If you guys are interested in just getting this premium analysis where we update the lower time frames, you can just come in here, start here section. It's just $7 as a one-time fee. So if you guys want to get in on that for this week, but we're gonna rest up for now. You know, take a look at some trades, and we'll continue. Yeah, we'll continue to update you guys in the chat with everything going on. Sundays, you know, we're not normally taking trades, but if something does come up in the next hour or so, we will. And then the next live session will be Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So yeah, 2 live sessions today. That's right. Yeah, been a lot going on. A lot of questions answered. A lot of analysis being provided. Yeah, guys, take it all in. You know, watch them if you missed the last one on YouTube. This will be posted as well. And yeah, guys, you know, rest up, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and let's get to it. You know, this
Hell
week.
yeah. So thank you guys for staying on, and we'll talk to you guys Tuesday at 9 a.m. And enjoy the rest of your night.
Easy. Hell yeah.
Peace.